Welcome to the Sellernomics Podcast, where we share valuable tips and information in the Amazon and e-commerce space. Each week, we deliver the best interviews with some of the top Amazon personalities in the industry to help you grow your business. Today's episode is brought to you by GETIDA, the global leader in FBA auditing and reimbursements. Get $400 in free FBA reimbursements at getida.com/Sellernomics. And now, here are your hosts, Rob Stanley and Lisa Kinski.
Hey, you guys. Welcome to Sellernomics. We got a great episode for you today. My name is Lisa Kinski, and I'm joined by my co-host, Rob Stanley. Rob, what is going on, man?
Just flying around the world, Lisa. How about yourself?
Oh, yeah. Doing good. Fixing to fly around the world, but happy to have you back in the studio. So today's guest we have with us, Ritu Java. She is with PPC Ninja, and we're going to be talking about Amazon ad strategies to grow your business. So let's go ahead and get her on in here. Ritu, how are you doing today, hun?
Hey, guys. So good to be here. Hey, Rob,
so
hey, Lisa.
Yeah. So happy to have you.
Great to have you.
Same here. So excited.
Fantastic. So Ritu, let's just go on ahead and jump straight into it. We'll talk about PPC Ninja at the end, learn more about you, and we'll plug a couple other episodes that we've got coming live with you soon. But to start off, what are some of the trends that you're seeing with Amazon PPC? Let's start with maybe over the last 6 months, because everything's changed since the pandemic, right? So maybe the last 6 months.
Perfect. Yeah, no, I love that question. Okay. So so I think there's a couple of things that have really changed on the Amazon advertising side. The first thing I've noticed is that visibility on Amazon in terms of ranked visibility with keywords is becoming less and less of a thing. And the reason is that, Amazon's layout is encouraging ad clicks over organic clicks. There's a few different things going on here. There was a time when organic position number one with your keywords used to actually be pretty visible and above the fold. No longer, because Amazon has changed its layout. It used to be a four across grid, and now it's a 5 across grid, which means you have 5 placements. And of those 5 placements, typically you have 4 that are ads. And I'm just talking about sponsored products. I'm not touching the sponsored brand position, which is right up at the top. For a shopper looking for something on Amazon, they're pretty much seeing ads now, right? So and we know this, we know that Amazon is slowly making it more of a
a pay to play.
Yeah. Exactly. It's like a pay-to-play platform now more and more. Visibility is, I think, the number one thing that I'm seeing. People are no longer competing just on organic placements. They're now actually competing on ad placements. So getting ad placement number 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 5 is actually becoming the only way that they're seeing sales momentum. So this never used to be the case, but it has become one. So I think that's one of the biggest trends that I'm seeing. The second trend, which again has really no surprises around it, is that ads are getting more expensive. There's a couple of reasons for that. There has been a return of Chinese products since August 2022. A lot of these Chinese brands had, because of the disruption during the pandemic, kind of pulled back, and we weren't seeing a lot of them. But now there's so many that they're basically taking over a lot of the placements that we could easily rank for earlier, or even get placements with PPC earlier. Those are getting quickly replaced by 5-character Chinese brands. One of the ways to check if you're being affected by that is to go into your product opportunity explorer and look at your niche. So this is a great tool that Amazon has made available. I really like this tool because it gives you a bunch of different perspectives. Number one, it gives you search term data in a generic sense around niches, right? So if you're looking for a garlic press niche, then all of the keywords associated with that, are visible. And then you can also look at trends where you can basically tell how many products are associated with those niches and with those keywords, which is amazing, So that data is showing, we've looked at a bunch of our own agency managed clients, and we see that almost 40% of the market is now, flooded with like newer products that weren't there earlier throughout the pandemic. So this is definitely the return of kind of the Chinese products. And as we know, they have a lot of unfair advantages in terms of being able to still game reviews, right? They still are able to do that. And, they quickly get in. They're very good at advertising. They're very good at marketing, and they have all of the strategies kind of figured out more than the average seller in the United States or any of the other major markets. And we're kind of getting beaten up a little bit here, right? And ads are getting more and more expensive because in order for us to kind of be visible and compete with the Chinese, we're having to pay a lot more per click. So that's kind of second trend I'm seeing.
Yeah. So on the topic of them getting more expensive, like overall, could you give an estimate of the percent increase that a seller is spending on PPC? Like maybe 6 months ago, they were spending 20% of the revenue on ads, and now they're spending 30% or something.
Yeah, so I think there's two important metrics here. The first one is that the CPCs, the cost per clicks themselves, have kind of gone up, definitely 20% or more. The second thing is that the ratio of sales from ads versus sales from organic has literally flipped. It used to be that about 30% of your sales would come from ads, and the remaining 70% would come from organic. And now it's literally flipped over. So some of you guys listening to this might be probably in a better spot with maybe 50-50, but certainly it's not what it used to be. So both those factors have kind of made advertising quite expensive, and you've got to be really on top of your game in order to kind of succeed with ads. Otherwise, you're basically losing money instead of gaining money. It used to be an investment. Now it's more like a liability, and you have to kind of spend because there's no other way to get visibility. So you're kind of caught in that, inevitable situation where you have to pay, but then you're, making as much money as you used to. Yeah. So that's,
you brought up a good point. A lot of people are using PPC. A lot of money's being spent on this, but there's got to be some tips or something that these kind of top higher end or top end type Amazon sellers are using, or these different ways that they're doing it to be able to still keep making money. Otherwise, everybody would get out. So what have you seen on some of the ways that these top sellers are, succeeding on the Amazon PPC area?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that, some of the top sellers in the space are using data very effectively, right? They know where to look for data on Amazon, and Amazon is giving us a lot more data than they used to in the past. Just to give you some examples, one of my favorite new reports from Amazon is the search query performance. And this is, for the first time, Amazon is actually telling you these are the keywords or search terms that, you're strong at. And a lot of the top sellers have already kind of gone in and analyzed and set up systems around that particular report. Amazon just recently allowed the ability to download that report. It never used to be downloadable. You had to kind of just look at it on the UI. Now you can download it. So, there's lots of tools that are coming up that are helping to analyze that information and, help people make better decisions with, okay, these are the keywords that Amazon has kind of blessed you with, and they're saying, okay, these are your keywords. You are relevant for these keywords. And so, knowing that is huge, like knowing which keywords you're already already well positioned to kind of rank for are the ones you should be picking up, and not only doing advertising with them, but also making sure that those keywords are present prominently on your listings in the back end and so on. So you want to use that data in order to make your advertising a lot more effective, and then also cheaper, because you're going after the long tail. You're going after keywords that maybe other people don't have as much kind of relevancy built up for, and you do. So kind of knowing that information, and there's a lot that this report has, including funnel analysis. So basically you can literally see what happens when for that keyword, how many impressions you get, what's the drop off from impressions to clicks, and then from clicks to add to carts, and from add to carts to sales. And being able to see all of that information for the first time is really interesting, because then you can see where your drop-offs are and what you need to strengthen, and whether there are keywords that you shouldn't be wasting your time on, right? Because that's another thing. You might think, oh, this is the best keyword for me, but you don't have any relevancy built up for it, not because it's a bad keyword, it's just because someone else has already conquered it, right? So so that's the other way, kind of slightly like the top sellers are using data to kind of differentiate themselves. So data is one way that you can differentiate yourself with. The second one is strategy, right? The strategies that we have been taught, over the years, is basically to go after keywords, right? Go after keywords, rank for keywords. Now, when you talk about keyword ranking, you're essentially talking about sponsored product ads, which tend to be the most expensive ad types. The click-through or the CPCs on those are the highest. And of course, the inventory for sponsored product ads, which means the ad inventory for sponsored products is the largest, which means you get the most ads with that ad type. But that's not the only ad type available to you. And a lot of people forget that there's other ad types that they could be leveraging and kind of using that to kind of conquer where other people are not paying attention, right? So strategy is, don't use just sponsored product ads. Look at a lot of different ad types, and you might be surprised at how few people actually spend the time or energy or effort to kind of explore those other ad types and maximize their outcomes from those. So low-hanging fruit everywhere. It's just top sellers know how to find them, and they keep discovering those kind of opportunities all the time in their data. And I think the third thing that top sellers are doing really, really well is that they have systems. And really, without systems, you cannot scale. You need tools, you need workflows, and you need SOPs in order to kind of really take data from one place to another, because there's so much data everywhere. They should be able to set up workflows for their teams, for their internal teams, so that this whole machinery, the ad machinery, kind of operates smoothly and profitably for them. And I think some of these top sellers are able to do that stuff really, really well.
And we're going to take a quick. Oh, do you have a question on that? Because I do too, but I want to do the commercial first.
We definitely need to do a commercial break. And after the commercial break, I do want to do a quick follow-up though, regarding kind of beginner sellers when it comes to PPC. So why don't we do that after the break there, Lisa?
Awesome.
Today's episode is brought to you by GETIDA, the global leader in FBA auditing and reimbursements. Get $400 in free FBA reimbursements at GETIDA.com/Sellernomics.
All right, you guys, be sure to head over to GETIDA.com/Sellernomics for that first 400 in FBA reimbursements free. Rob, you had a question about beginner tactics and strategies.
Yeah, because we just covered kind of like top sellers and everything. And I know as a new seller, they first get on, they start selling, they don't quite even think about PPC, but when they finally do, is it one of those things that soon as they get on, they start selling, should they really spend some time and figure out the PPC, or should they just turn on the auto PPC to start doing, pay-per-click type stuff? What's your kind of feeler? What's your tips for kind of also the beginner sellers that are just getting started?
Yeah, I think, as a seller, you definitely need to go in all eyes open, because you definitely want to take advantage of advertising right from the day you launch, right? Because there's, a flywheel that you're responsible for kicking off. Amazon won't do it for you. Just because you listed something on Amazon does not mean that you will get visibility. And the only way to get visibility nowadays is through ads, right? So really get good at your ads, all your strategies, learn about all the different ad types, and see, okay, which ones make the most sense to launch now versus later. Definitely there's going to be struggles with budget, like how do you distribute your budget amongst all these different ad types, right? And should you be going after the most expensive keywords from the get-go, or should you try and go after different keywords? So there's a bunch of strategies that one can talk about when it comes to like smaller sellers. I think some of my favorite ad types when it comes to getting momentum initially, is okay. So I'll name some of the ad types that I like in the beginning. So definitely the auto campaign is a huge one, especially because of its reach. Amazon already knows a lot about your product the moment you kind of set up your listing, and they've kind of assigned you to a category or a browse node. They already know that your product is of type whatever. So the thing with auto campaigns, though, is that there's a little bit of a trick there where you split out your auto campaign into 4 parts, meaning you split them out into 4 different campaigns instead of keeping them all in the same campaign. That's actually the number one tip for getting profitable auto campaigns, because otherwise people get burnt out by auto campaigns because they can go really, really broad. You don't want to burn yourself out that soon. So spread out your auto campaigns into 4. So there's close match, loose match, substitutes, and complements. Those are the 4 targeting groups within auto campaigns. So you split them up. Now, once you split them up,
So hold on. What do those mean? You said close match,
Yeah.
loose match, substitute. What was the fourth one?
complements.
So
Yeah.
quick definitions of what each of those
Sure.
mean.
Yep. Close match are basically keywords that will match very closely to the words that are already on your listing and what Amazon thinks your listing is, right? So that's close match. Loose match are words that are loosely affiliated with your type of product, and they're kind of sometimes peripheral words that might entice someone into looking at your product or to consider your product. So those are loosely matched. So they're called loose match. Substitutes are other products that could be substitutes for yours, which means they are your closest competitors, right? So those are basically product matching, right? Amazon will match your product to another product and show your ad on their page, essentially. And then complements are also types of products, but they are products that will go well with your product. So let's say bed sheets will go well with comforter. So those are the types of complements that someone who's looking for a comforter will naturally want to look for a bed sheet that goes with it. So those are complementary products that Amazon will show your ad for. Now, the fact that these 4 are completely different animals, right? You're matching something closely, matching something loosely, matching something that's exactly like yours, or matching something that goes well with yours. These are different types of targeting. And if you let them be in the format that Amazon has kind of clubbed them in auto campaigns, they just call it auto, and inside there's 4 parts to it, right? So you don't want to do that. So you split them up because they're doing different things for you. And then you assign different values to these 4 targeting groups. Naturally, the close match is the most valuable ad type for you, right? Because it is closely matched to what you're selling. Whereas loose match is not exactly what you're selling. It's kind of loosely matched. But is that a bad match? Not necessarily. Those words just need to be bid lower because the value you get from a loose match is much broader. So you may not hit the nail on the head with targeting there. So let's say if your close match is assigned 40 cents per click bid or a bid value of 40 cents, you want to set your loose match to maybe 20 cents because it's less valuable. Same thing with substitutes. When you're saying substitutes, you're basically going after your competitors, right? So those are extremely good targets because they are it's almost like you're pre-qualifying your target audience. If they're already on the page that describes your closest competitor, that means they've already gone down the buyer journey of saying, okay, this is the product I want. And then they click onto your ad, which means that they're highly qualified leads for you, right? So value of a substitute is way higher than the value of a complement. A complementary product might be again, you can assign 15 cents or something like that, whereas you might assign a 30-cent bid to a substitute. So that's how you kind of do the first step of splitting out your auto campaigns. That's one of my favorite ones for smaller sellers. It'll give you reach and you can get profitability by setting your bids lower. And then just watch. If you don't get impressions, then you can slowly inch up, rather than doing the inch or step down method, right? The inch up method is where you start with low bids and then you slowly inch up to finding your sweet spot of profitability and impressions. Whereas if you start with extremely high bid, then you're generally aligning yourself with an aggressive strategy, and you're saying, okay, I'm willing to win this no matter what, right? And If that's the case, then you've got to be prepared for a larger budget, because every click that you bid, like let's say $2 on, is going to add up, and your budget is definitely going to be used up much, much faster than if you use the inch up method.
Gosh,
So yeah.
this is a lot of data. This is a lot of information. Like
Yeah.
what like tools or software do you recommend for sellers who are either just starting out with PPC or just to manage it? Because I can see very quickly how a seller can go into analysis paralysis with, okay, how much do I make this keyword for, and do I lose? I mean, there's so much to it.
There's a lot to it. Yeah. I would say for a smaller seller, definitely use Amazon's own tools. They're free and there's a lot of information right there. So for example, if you just want to know what are good starting bids for keywords, you can look at Amazon's recommended bid range. It'll tell you, what other bidders are winning auctions for. So let's say a keyword like garlic press might be going for, let's say, between $2 and $4 a click. Now you might say, okay, that's too expensive for me. Let me look for a different keyword. So let's say another kind of longer tail keyword could be garlic press for arthritic hands. Now that's very specific. It's a long tail keyword, and you're likely to see a slightly lower recommended bid range for that keyword. So you might see like 70 cents to $2 or whatever. I'm just making this up. The data is right there. You can look for it there. Other tools that you could use are, keyword research tools, right? So one of, again, the free keyword research tool that Amazon provides is Brand Analytics. You can basically go into Brand Analytics, type your keyword in, your main keyword, and then you'll get a lot of long tail keyword variants of that keyword. Then you can look up your search frequency rank, which is basically it is what Amazon gives a number for the popularity, to describe the popularity of that keyword. So the smaller the search frequency rank, the more popular the keyword. So let's say Bluetooth might be, popular keyword number 1, so it'll get a rank of 1, whereas Bluetooth keyboard for Mac 2011 or whatever might be search frequency rank number, I don't know, 800,000 or something like that. So you can basically use Brand Analytics for keyword research. You can use Amazon's own keyword data for getting an idea of how much you might want to bid. Then also Amazon gives you suggested keywords. Like when you're setting up your ads, they might tell you, okay, these are your suggestions for keywords that go well with your product. And so you can do a lot of stuff just with Amazon, right? Now, of course, if you want to go to the next level, which, after a certain point you will want to, Amazon's tools will start to fall short because they just don't have the ability to help you do optimization and stuff like that. So keyword optimization will then become the next major goal or target. Once you've started seeing ads moving, then you'll have to kind of, tame the beast because you might see cost per clicks going extremely high or low or whatever. So you've got to react to that almost nonstop, right? It doesn't stop. Like bids have to be changed all the time, right? So you'll need tools that will help you optimize your bids. You'll need some way of doing bulk operations, which means changing bids and budgets at scale. So you'll need tools for that. And then obviously once you get the hang of it, you'll also need some of the advanced tools that Amazon provides, like Search Query Performance or Product Opportunity Explorer. These are some of the tools that will give you insights on how you're doing, right? On how you're doing or how your niche is doing, and then you can kind of draw from that. So there's definitely not a dull moment when it comes to Amazon advertising. There's so much to learn. And not only that, there's so much to learn, and then Amazon keeps giving us more and more and more with more placements, more ad types, ad types haven't grown that much recently, but we definitely get more and more placements. We get more and more data from Amazon. So, staying on top of that game is, I guess it's inevitable. That's what I want to say. It's best to kind of be friends with PPC and learn it as soon as possible, or get some really good agency that can manage it for you. Yeah.
And we'll get into the good agency in a minute, but go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, no, I just kind of a quick follow-up to that. I was thinking to myself, is there any of the tools that you mentioned? Remember, it's been 4 years since I've sold, so it's been a little while. But any of the tools you mentioned do they allow you to kind of go in and put your landed cost and like kind of track, hey, if I spend this much on PPC, here's my, what I'll make off of this after A, landed cost, B, cost of sell, C, the PPC cost. Is there anything that kind of breaks it down like that? And if there is it something you'd recommend?
I mean, there's a lot of tools out there, and I think no tool is perfect because they'll do a part of the, of the tasks that you wanted to do, and there'll be some that it's, hopelessly bad at. So I would say, try a few different things to see what your kind of goals are. Like if you really want to, let's say you have, something that inventory that goes in and out of stock all the time because of the nature of your brand, you will need a tool that has inventory information kind of built into it, and it takes that into account. If you have a different kind of product line where, let's say, profitability becomes a very important factor when it comes to testing, let's say, pricing strategies, you're changing your pricing all the time, and you're wanting to see what the impact that has on your sales, that would be a different type of tool. So I don't think there's a perfect tool, but there's definitely a lot of tools out there. Even with just ads alone, there's 68 tools and growing. That's just for ads, 68 tools. And when it comes to all-in-one tools, they will be expensive, right? They will be expensive because they are doing a lot. They're handling a lot of data. They're tapping into different sources, different APIs, putting it all together, giving you dashboards. So they will be expensive. So I would say, depending on where you are in your journey as an Amazon seller, you will need different tools at different times, and you might even graduate, right? In the beginning, you might just use Amazon's tools, you might just use CSVs. Once you get better at that, you might need something else, and then something else. So yeah, I would say keep looking. I mean, there's so much good stuff out there. There's many tools that have solved many problems, but I think that's the thing you want to find out. What problem does this tool solve? So once you have that, you'll be able to see if it matches with what you need, and then you can try it out. Most softwares give you some amount of free trial, so you can test it out and see if it really does what you are expecting out of it.
Yeah, of course. And as your business grows, your needs are going to grow and change. So you're going to need different solutions.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Ritu, we're going to take another quick commercial break, and then I want to hear all about PPC Ninja, the kind of sellers that you help, what you help with, capabilities, all that good stuff. So let's go ahead and take a quick break.
Today's episode is brought to you by GETIDA, the global leader in FBA auditing and reimbursements. Get $400 in free FBA reimbursements at GETIDA.com/Sellernomics.
All right, you guys, again, that's GETIDA.com/Sellernomics. We are here with Ritu Java talking about Amazon ad strategies to help grow your business, but we're pivoting now to speaking specifically about PPC Ninja. So Ritu, you are one of the co-founders of PPC Ninja. How does your agency help sellers? Obviously with PPC, right? It's in the name, it's very aptly named, but how is it that you are able to assist them?
Yeah, absolutely. So PPC Ninja is both a software as well as an agency. So it's kind of, self-serve for those who want to just use our software and just do PPC themselves, that's fine. But if, let's say, you don't want to do that yourself, you're like, okay, this is too hard for me, or, I need someone who has more knowledge than I do about PPC, then, that's when people come to us as an agency client. So we have both options. Now, I'll explain a little bit about our software and who the target audience is, and then a little bit about our agency. So going with software first, our software is designed for PPC managers who kind of want to make accurate decisions about their PPC, right? So it's really good for, bidding accurately. So our bidding software is extremely advanced. We have our logic based on the data sufficiency model. Now, I know it's a lot of terms there, but I'll just explain it as simply as I can so that you guys get an idea of like what is data sufficiency and how that's not only a game changer, but very different from what other people are offering on the market today. So I'll give you a simple example. Let's say you have two keywords, one keyword that moves really fast and the other one that moves really slow. What I mean by that is the fast keyword might accumulate a lot of clicks and a lot of sales in a very short period of time. Let's say in 3 days, you have 500 clicks and 50 sales, just an example. And another keyword that is long tail, which means it's kind of good because it's long tail and you might be able to kind of get some profitable conversions out of that keyword. However, it moves very, very slowly. And the slowness of it could be because first, there might not be as much search volume for that keyword because it's long. It's a long tail. And second, it might move so slowly because the conversion rate on that is also maybe is lower, right? So you might need more clicks before you see the first sale. A conversion rate of, let's say, 5% means that you need 20 clicks before you see the first sale, or one sale, right? So with these two types of keywords in the mix, most people have hundreds of keywords for a single products, right? So how do you keep keep on top of which keyword is moving fast, which one is moving slow, and when to make changes to your bids? You're watching the profitability at all times. You're looking at ACOS. That's the number that most people will look at, and they say, okay, my ACOS target is, let's say, 20%, right? How should you be looking at your data and making decisions about, first of all, when to make a change, and second of all, how much to make a change for, right? Should you change by 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%? How do you make those decisions? So our data sufficiency model basically starts to count how many clicks you've had from the last significant event. So let's say your last significant event was a bid change. You changed your bid 3 days ago. And if I'm looking back today, I'm already seeing like 500 clicks, right? So obviously 3 days is more than enough to make a decision, right? Time is translated into data in our case. We're looking at how many clicks versus how many days have elapsed since the last time you made a bid change. Now that's a revolutionary, or it's a very different approach to most people's advertising approach, which generally tends to be the following. They will look back 14 days. For example, they'll download the search term report and say, okay, over the past 14 days, how many clicks did I get for this keyword? How many sales did I get? Now that model can get you in trouble because you might be too late on fast moving keywords and you might be too early on slow moving keywords. And what happens in that case is with too many or too few clicks in that time period, what happens is that people will see that as only spend and no sales, and they might incorrectly negate that keyword or bid it down. Whereas actually the right thing would have been to wait till its time is right, which is it has enough clicks to make that sale. So our software basically does all of that automatically, and you get bid recommendations on a daily basis for those keywords that are ready for a change. And that's how you can basically rely on this model to kind of give you recommendations rather than having you download stuff, change, look back, all that stuff. So it makes your life easy in a nutshell, right? The second thing our software is really good at is bulk operations. So if you are an agency or a PPC manager, you will need to make bulk changes many times, right? You might want to change budgets across hundreds and hundreds of campaigns based on certain criteria. You might say, okay, all the campaigns that had a cost greater than X, I want to budget down. Or all of the campaigns that had really good conversions on top of search placement, I want to change all of them and increase the placement modifier by 25%. That sort of stuff, you don't want to be wasting your time downloading reports from Amazon and then analyzing them and then uploading back. That's a very inefficient way of going about things. So instead, using bulk operations where, in the back end, where our software is connected to the UI, to the API, Amazon Ad API is constantly pulling in data. And what you're seeing is, the kind of cleaned up version on a timeline, right? So you can basically see, okay, over so many days, over the past X days, what happened? Over the past 30 days, what happened? So you can make quick decisions and bulk operations really, really quickly with our software. And the last thing I want to say is that, it works in all markets and it's great for agencies PPC managers and consultants. So a slightly advanced, not, I wouldn't say the newbie would probably not get as much out of our software. I would highly recommend using Amazon's own tools for that phase. But once you're past it, then definitely look at PPC Ninja as one of your options. So that's the software side. If you had any questions, I'll just pause for a bit before I move on.
No, that was perfect. That was perfect. I do, and you may have just answered this, but I want to give you a chance to be able to maybe say a little bit more regarding this. There's a lot of PPC agencies out there, as you mentioned. If you could just kind of high level tell everybody kind of what sets you guys apart, or what's some of the unique things. Again, I think you just mentioned some of it, but is there anything else that you'd like to elaborate on what kind of sets you guys apart?
Yeah, absolutely. So, on the agency side of things, we work with 6, 7, and 8-figure sellers, and we definitely want to be able to pay for ourselves and not put a burden on you. So we generally don't work with sellers that are having a tough time just getting things off the ground, and we don't want to charge them and then have them feel like it's too much, or it's eating into their profits. So we generally start with slightly established seller, but we help the kind of new sellers for a couple of months if that's all they need. Like, let's say they just need campaign setup, they just need some initial help, after which they're willing to, or they're fine with using our software to continue their journey. That's fine. So we do help small sellers as well as the more established ones. But as an agency only, we kind of work with those who have had at least some amount of experience with PPC, or have tried PPC and maybe have not really succeeded, and that's when we come in and kind of help to turn their accounts around. So that's one thing. Then I just want to say that PPC management has two important aspects to it, right? The first one is dealing with optimization, which is like an ongoing thing. Like, you can never stop, right? You have to change your bids all the time. You have to change your budgets. You have to change your placement modifiers. There's so many things you need to do on an ongoing basis, and that part of dealing with optimization is really good it's a good fit for software, right? Software does great with rules. You give it rules. Okay, my ACOS is this. I want to change. If my ACOS meets my target, then increase. If not, then decrease. Those are rules that fall in the realm of software really well. The second aspect of PPC management, which is I would like to call it creative opportunity exploration, is the aspect that is very well suited for humans, right? You're always having to look for opportunities. Okay, you're looking out for competitors. You're looking out. Of course, you might use tools to make those opportunities, be visible, but it's a human task of looking at ways in which you could find new targets to go after. Or if you're looking at certain competitors, you're watching them and you're saying, oh, they're out of stock right now, let's kind of go in and grab some sales from from their pages. So there's a lot of that stuff going on, in addition to things like designing headline ads that are creative, testing, A/B testing images, messages, targets. So all of those creative things, campaign creation and stuff like that, is really better suited for humans with the help of software. So I think our agency is well suited for both because we use our software internally, right? Mm-hmm. So our agency has a software, so we'll use that as a base, but then we'll use our humans to kind of make better judgment, better decisions based on the halfway point or more that the software brings us to. Right. So that's kind of where we're a little bit different, where we have both aspects. The second thing I want to say is that we have an internal mindset for not satisfying our clients, but making them raving fans. That's our mantra, our theme. We've based a lot of our culture on the Raving Fans book by gosh, now I can't remember his name. Come on, Raving Fans by Ken Blanchard, right? So that is an amazing book. It's it's from back in the 90s, but some of the principles still hold today. It's it's the idea that people customer satisfaction is not enough, because people can be satisfied with your service because they don't know any better. But the moment they see something better, they'll leave you, right? So we don't want customer satisfaction. We actually want our customers to be so happy that they kind of announce to the world that, these guys are the best, you have to work with them, kind of thing. So raving fans, we have an internal metric for what we call the raving fan score. So every week we go into, we basically analyze every one of our clients and say, okay, if we were them today, this week, how would we rate PPC Ninja? And we give ourselves a score between 1 and 5. It's basically a smiley that goes from sad to very smiley. So, that's kind of our mindset. And even our kind of internal operations are built around that. The moment we start seeing someone slipping from their perception of the value we are delivering from, let's say, a 5 to a 4, then we have a serious meeting about it. We're like, okay, what do we do? What do we do? How do we help them? How do we, what more can we do? And, the mindset of like always delivering a better result, like always showing growth week over week over week. So that's kind of in a nutshell what our mindset is. We're not just looking for maximizing the number of clients we have. In fact, we have almost like a boutique approach where the ratio of clients to our PPC account managers is kind of very, very low. We have a very small number of people per agent to kind of, so that we can give the most attention to each of our clients.
That's incredible, Ritu. And a little teaser for everybody listening, we are going to have another episode with you for Show Us What You Got. So we'll be able to see the software in real time and walk through and see its capabilities. We also have an episode of Prime Talk coming out with Ritu as well, so you can learn more about her and her story. Not to cross-pollinate the shows, but hey, why not? So Ritu, if anybody has any questions for you, or if they want to learn more, where can they reach out to you, or where can they reach you, really?
Yeah. So I think the best place to catch me is on LinkedIn. I'm active there. You also have my email, right? Ritu@ppcninja.com. Hit me up on LinkedIn, and happy to engage there. Yeah.
Amazing. And you're the only Ritu Java on LinkedIn, so we don't have to worry about them sending requests to the wrong person.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing. So for our audio listeners, that is ppcninja.com. Her email address is Ritu, RITU, @ppcninja.com. Ritu, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been fabulous.
Thank you so much, guys. It was so much fun hanging out with you.
Rob, any final words?
I think that was amazing. I mean, absolutely incredible. You went into a lot of in-depth detail. I think, everybody's going to learn from this. I'm looking forward to having you on to Show Us What You Got. It'll be really incredible to see the software and the tools. And yeah, I'll tune into the Prime Talk, since they're okay. Also.
She's got a great story. You've got to tune into that.
No, I definitely do. So real quick, if anybody's listening, you're not familiar with Prime Talk, that's Yoni Mazur and of course, Lisa Kinski. And they go more into in-depth background and where the person came from, what brought them to the business, more about the founders or the people behind the scenes of companies. So be sure to add that to your like list in your podcast. Ritu, is amazing to meet you. Absolutely incredible information. Thank you so much. Lisa,
you so much.
Anything else?
No, thank you, Ritu, for your time. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Thanks,
we'll
guys.
see everybody very soon.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Sellernomics Podcast. Special thanks to our sponsor, GETIDA. Did you know that Amazon probably owes you money for FBA reimbursements? Get $400 in free FBA reimbursements at GETIDA.com/Sellernomics. Be sure to join us again next week for more great tips on how to grow your business. And thanks again for listening.